and welcome to Lift the Cup Fantasy, or LTC Fantasy as some call it. And today is our Weekend Ads episode where we're going to look at the weekend schedule to hopefully find you that piece to give you that final push for your Week 20 fantasy hockey win. Some things to note: there is only 4 games on Friday, there's 10 on Saturday, and 9 on Sunday. Do note that the Islanders and Washington only play on Friday, and then there's Columbus, Pittsburgh, Vancouver, Vegas, Minnesota, and Winnipeg that do play both Friday and Sunday. So we will focus on those 8 teams that play on Friday since it is the lightest night, and that's where you're going to create some added value. And then we'll also look at another 8 teams that play both Saturday and Sunday. That way, if you need a piece, a little boost towards the end, hopefully add a little extra value to your player ad with them getting in 2 games on the weekend. Do remember to look in the description, because I will mention there where to find your Friday defensemen and forwards and also your Saturday defensemen and forwards. And don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, and remember that bell. That way, if you do need to come back to the episode to find a different piece a little later in the week due to injury or roster needs, etc., it's a lot easier to come back and find the video and get that piece you need. So we will get right into Friday defensemen. I look at Noah Dobson from the Islanders. He's owned in 52% of Yahoo leagues, plays in that second pairing and top power play unit, and he's been really hot of late, having 7 points in his last 6 games. Going over to Washington, I do look at Dmitry Orlov. He's owned in 49% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on that second pairing and second power play unit, and he has 2 points in his last 2 games, and he's been really close to right around that half point per game all season long, so he's really a solid streamer for the weekend. Next is Brad Hunt from Vancouver. He's owned in 0% of the leagues, so he's available everywhere. He's on the third pairing and on the second power play unit right now, and he's currently on a 3-game point streak where he has 1 goal and 2 assists. Looking at Jared Spurgeon from Minnesota, he's owned in 56% of Yahoo leagues, plays in that top pairing and top power play unit, and he's been really solid all season when he's been healthy. He has 3 points in his last 2 games. Going over to Winnipeg, I look at Nate Schmidt, owned in 20% of Yahoo leagues, plays in that third pairing and is on the second power play unit, and he has 3 points in his last 4 games. Another one from Vancouver is Josh Morrissey. He's owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues, currently on the top pairing and top power play unit, and he has 4 points in his last 10 games, so not the greatest production. But in those 10 games, he has 25 shots on goal and 18 blocks. So definitely those secondary stats add some value for you. Going into some Friday forwards, I look at Zach Parise from the Islanders, listed as center left winger, owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues, currently on the second line and second power play unit. And the veteran's been producing the last few weeks, having 8 points in his last 9 games. Another one from the Islanders is Brock Nelson, listed as a center, owned in 17% of Yahoo leagues. He's currently centering the top line with Barzal out, and he's always been on the top power play unit. But in those games with Barzal out, he has 2 goals and 1 assist in the last 3 games. Over in Washington, I look at Connor Sherry, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, currently on the third line and second power play unit. Sometimes he does bump up to the second or top line, but he's been really hot the last week, having 5 points in his last 3 games. Going to Columbus, I look at Boone Jenner, listed as center left winger, only owned in 61% of Yahoo leagues, been on the top line, top power play unit all year, and he has 11 points in his last 11 games played. Another one from Columbus is Jakub Voracek, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues, on that second line and top power play unit, and he's even been a little bit better than Jenner, having 11 points in his last 10 games played. Another one from Columbus is Oliver Bjorkstrand, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 46% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second line and top power play unit, and he's currently on a 5-game point streak where he has 4 goals and 1 assist. So if goals are weighted a little bit more in your league, that's definitely somebody to look at. Going to Vancouver, I look at Tanner Pearson, listed as a left winger, only owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, been bumped up to that top line and on the second power play unit, and he has 8 points in his last 7 games. Another one from Vancouver is Bo Horvat, listed as a center, owned in 65% of Yahoo leagues, so his ownership's definitely up there, but available in about a third of the leagues out there. He's also on the top line and top power play unit, and he has 7 points in his last 6 games played. Going over to Vegas, I look at Riley Smith, listed as a right winger, only owned in 39% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the second line and second power play unit, and he has 5 points in his last 5 games played. Now from Vegas, there's a couple other to consider. They've just been a little cold of late. That being Chandler Stevenson. He plays on that top line with Eichel, and Pacioretty came back, so hopefully there might be a little uptick there. And also William Karlsson, he plays on that second line with Smith. From Minnesota, I look at Matt Boldy, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on that second line and top power play unit, and he's had a really solid season since being called up. He has 20 points in 22 games played. One of his line mates on the second line is Frederick Gaudreau, listed as a center, only owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second line with Boldy, as I mentioned, and second power play unit, and he has 5 points in his last 7 games played. From Winnipeg, I look at Evgeny Svechnikov, listed as a right winger, only owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second line right now, and he's been really hot the last 2 weeks, having 6 points in his last 5 games played. So we'll jump into some teams that play both Saturday and Sunday. And defensemen, I look at Rasmus Andersson, only owned in 49% of Yahoo leagues, plays in that top pairing in Calgary and top power play unit, and he has 4 points in his last 5 games played. Going to Carolina, I look at Jacob Slavin, owned in 62% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on that top pairing and top power play unit. He's pointless in the last 6 games, but he is getting top unit power play time with D'Angelo out, and something has to balance out because Carolina has too much firepower that a defenseman can't get some secondary assists there. Going to Montreal, I look at Jeff Petrie, owned in 52% of Yahoo leagues, currently on the second pairing and top power play unit, and he's showing flashes of last year's career season, having 7 points in his last 9 games. Another one to consider is Ben Sherratt. He's just never been that big of a point producer, but in the last couple weeks he does have 7 points the last 6 games, so a little bit of a stretch play, but definitely give it a go. Next one is Dante Fabro from Nashville, owned in 0% of Yahoo leagues, so he's definitely available out there. He's up on that top pairing with Yossi and on the second power play unit, and he has 5 points in his last 7 games. Going to St. Louis, I look at Colton Parayko, owned in 30% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top pairing in St. Louis, and he has 3 points in his last 7 games, so right around half point per game. But in those 7 games, he's plus 11, has 19 shots on goal, and 18 blocks, so there's definitely some secondary value there for you. Going along to the forwards that play both Saturday and Sunday, I look at Blake Coleman from Calgary. He's listed as a left winger, right winger, only owned in 34% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on that second line and second power play unit, and he has 6 points in his last 7 games played. So considering how his season started, he's really turned it up of late. So has all of Calgary, actually. But moving along to another one from Calgary is Tyler Toffoli, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 59% of Yahoo leagues. Currently on that third line and first power play unit, and he's been really hot since coming over from Montreal. He has 8 points in his last 5 games played. Another one to consider from Calgary is Michael Backlund, just because he plays on that second line with Coleman and second power play unit. Just check availability because there are better options out there, but that is somebody to look at. Going to Carolina, I look at Jordan Staal, the wily vet, listed as a center, only owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues. Currently centers at third line and second power play unit, and he has 6 points in his last 8 games played. Another one from Carolina to maybe take a peek at is Nino Niederreiter. He also plays on that third line with Staal and the second power play unit. But we'll move over to LA, and I look at Adrian Kempe, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 51% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on that top line with Kopitar and top power play unit, and he is pointless in his last 6 games, but he does score in a bunch. He does have 25 goals in the year, so he might be due to break out this weekend, hopefully. The next one I listed was Victor Arvidsson. Ignore that listing because he just got injured the other night and he's supposed to miss multiple games, so we'll scrap him off the list for right now unless you got spot on your IR. Another one from LA though that is available is Trevor Moore, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 10% of Yahoo leagues. Currently plays on that second line and second power play unit, and he has 8 points in his last 9 games played. Another one that I like from Montreal is Cole Caulfield, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 51% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top line and top power play unit, and he's starting to live up to the billing as a hyped up rookie, having 12 points in his last 8 games. Another one to consider is they ride shotgun with Suzuki and Caulfield's Josh Anderson. Definitely take a look at him. He's kind of streakier than the others because he's more the goal scorer, so he doesn't get a lot of assists, so he'll go a couple games and then score, etc. But moving along to Philadelphia, I look at Travis Konechny, listed as a right winger, owned in 23% of Yahoo leagues, been bumped up to the top line with Giroux, plays on the second power play unit, and he has 7 points in his last 10 games. Another one is the other guy that got bumped up with Giroux is Scott Laughton, listed as center left winger, only owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues. As I mentioned, plays on the top line and second power play unit, and he has 8 points in his last 10 games played. Moving along to St. Louis to wrap it up is Robert Thomas, listed as center right winger, owned in 28% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the second line and second power play unit, and he's been right around a point per game all season. Don't know why his ownership's so low, and it's continued. He has 10 points in his last 10 games played. Next one's Ivan Barbashev from St. Louis, listed as center, left wing, and right wing, owned in 45% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that third line right now and second power play unit. Sometimes he does get bumped up to the second line, sometimes top line, and he's been hot of late, having 7 points in his last 6 games. I hope you do enjoy the episode. If you did, please remember to hit like, hit subscribe, and remember that notification bell so you hear about future episodes. And good luck to all you fantasy owners out there.